Hi, everybody. I'm Rev Catie.
I'm Sally Fritchie.
And we serve the congregation here at First Parish in Needham, Unitarian Universalist. And we welcome you to another one of our conversations about our monthly themes here at First Parish. This month in February, our monthly theme is liberation. So we've been discussing that topic in our Sunday services and in our lifespan religious exploration, in our small group ministry. That's what we've been doing. And we've been thinking a lot about how one of the challenges of liberation for all peoples is how do you, in a society, liberate everybody so that everybody lives free. Collective liberation is such a complicated network of oppressions and freedons. And that's one of the things I think we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, there's a metaphor that I was taught in school of thinking about kind of a single thread of oppression as one wire, and it might not seem like much of a barrier when you first look at it. Say sexism is just this one wire, and someone might look and say, oh, it's easy, just go around it. That's not a real barrier. But that when that intersects with another wire, say racism, or another wire, citizenship status, or poverty, suddenly you have a cage. And that getting rid of that cage, liberating a person or a people, takes so much more than just kind of passing one law, snipping one wire, clearing one path, and that it has to be this whole systemic way of approaching oppression and liberation if we're going to make real progress.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just thinking about even that wire metaphor, that even one wire is an obstacle.
That's right.
And a very real obstacle. But the collective liberation and thinking about intersectional concerns, as the Professor Kimberly Crenshaw said, that all these things that network together to make a cage, it's much more complicated. And the way they interact is much more complicated. It reminds me of time I spent serving on the Unitarian Universalist Partner Church Council and actually engaging with Unitarians out in Northeast India. We have 10,000 Unitarians in Northeast India that I've had the privilege of living with and working with, partnering with. It's been a wonderful part of my life for the last decade. And I think about for the community there, the Unitarian community there in India, they are an ethnic minority, they're a religious minority, and many of them are in rural farming communities, subsistence farming, where they're dealing with poverty and unequal access to education. The roads are often terrible to many of these villages, so the cell service is bad, so it's hard for them to access cities and hospitals and other sorts of modern conveniences for the Unitarians who live in the rural districts of Meghalaya. And all those things network together in a very complex way. And the Partner Church Council that's been partnering with Unitarians outside of the United States for many, many years, they've been working hard to build stronger relationships, particularly in the last decade or two, that are based on a parity model instead of a charity model. So instead of being like, well, we can clip one of those wires by just sending a bunch of money over for XYZ, they think about how do we work with our partners and build a friendship so that we're really engaging with each other in an equal way, parity, not charity. It's been much more effective in building friendships and partnerships with our spiritual siblings in India, in Transylvania, in the Philippines, all over the world.
Yeah, I was just down in Arizona chaperoning the youth service trip here for some of our First Parish teens, and we were working with an organization called Border Links, and they have a similar model. They say solidarity, not charity. And similarly, it's about getting away from the idea that, the rich and powerful can just gift liberation to people who are oppressed, and more about a listening relationship and trying to really partner long-term to try and, snip all those wires and create a more free world for everyone. Yeah. So it was a really powerful experience, and I think our youth are going to be leading a service describing kind of their transformation and their learning experience there later in March, so stay tuned.
Is it a spoiler for you to tell us what Borderlinks does? What is their...
Oh, of
Yeah.
course, yeah.
Yeah.
Borderlinks, as the name I think implies, Borderlinks works with undocumented populations. They work with a variety of partner organizations, so they're working with No More Deaths, which you might have seen in the news. They're a somewhat UU-affiliated group that leaves water in the desert for people who are crossing through really dangerous territory to come to the U.S. And Borderlinks works to kind of connect all these different community partners and to educate people and people like us and send us, back to our home communities to spread the word and get people more involved in immigrant justice work.
That's fantastic. No, I'm so glad that our teens got to have that experience.
Yeah, it was really great.
No. Well, so we're very curious from all of you who are watching, whether on YouTube or on Facebook, what to you are some of the intersectional concerns about oppression and freedom? What are some of the things that you think about in terms of collective liberation and how we can actually achieve it? What are some of the things that you've worked on in your life to gain more liberation for yourselves and for your partners and allies in your community? You should feel free to leave a comment wherever you're watching this, or to go to our website, uuneedham.org, and email Sally and I directly with your thoughts. We would love to hear from you.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll see you on some Sunday soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.